Hi, welcome back. Today we're going to look at one of the exterior builds I've been working on. Probably won't be the first time you've seen a treehouse, but I did want to make one for myself and kind of test the limits on like the placement budget outside, which does hamper it a little bit. I would like it to be a bit more lush, but the trees are a bit of a budget sink. For our main tree we used this razorwind acacia tree, and we flipped a bunch of them upside down to create a larger base trunk, and we just layered them into each other, and we used smaller variants for the tree, for the branches. So we have, this is quite a few, maybe 8 different trees here. And I also tried to layer in some of these Asharan fire spear trees, just for extra purple. So we just stuck those into some of the tree branches. So it looks like they're kind of offshoots. But I do like the purple, so we just raised our house up into a kind of a cushion in between all the branches, and we put some of the round platforms in just to give it a nice base. Loaded it up with vines and threw some bushels underneath just to kind of hide the wood, and we put some blueberries in there just for fun. For decorations we made a couple of the Shadowlands crafted items. This Nightface shrine is actually a lot bigger than I expected it to be, but I don't hate it. This is the base size actually, 100%. So it is quite large if you scale it up. Speaking of scaling things up, a trick some of my friends and I weren't aware of is while you're scaling things up, if you're holding the shift key, it will go up by tens. So it can make it a little easier to get those round numbers you're looking for, opposed to when you're just clicking and dragging. It is a little finicky, and you can use the arrows as well, of course. It's a little slower, but if you hold shift and drag, it's much faster and easier to kind of get the numbers you're looking for. We put a couple tents over here, made a fountain. This fountain is the overgrown wildhammer fountain. It's one of my favorite ones, but we are hiding some of the intricacies of it under all these rocks. Boulders rather, but we do use a lot of these sentinel moonwing gazes in this build in general. Let's see, there's another one up here. I really like to tilt them a little bit. You can see this one, so we tilt it on its side, and it kind of looks like it's perched on the branch. There's a few of those inside the treehouse here. I had planned on using these Surima stepping stones as my pathway up here, but these aren't actually solid objects, so we had to go with the cobblestones. And I was going to layer the stepping stones on top of all of them, but we ran out of budget, so we're just sticking with the cobblestone for right now. We put all the vines on just to kind of make it like it's grown together instead of just the magical floating stones. And we did unlock the Cenarian Arch through our Druid class hole. So, another cool item we've been trying to get a hold of. I did want the inside to reflect the outside, so it is quite small, cozy. Not to scale, but as close as I could get it. Lots of plants inside. We did a Belemeth wooden table as our door, and another Cenarian arch. We made ourselves a little fancy door handle here with a fence post and one of these filigree moon lamps, which I can't seem to grab. There it is. So we just scaled that down and clipped it into our fence post so it looks a bit more like a door handle. We have our sprouting lamp post once again, just turned up and flipped upside down. It's kind of our nature sconces. Of our fireplace. There are a couple more Night Elf themed fireplaces, but the textures are quite low on those, so I didn't really dig the way they looked. We have our Skyhold war table as our little game here. Another class hole item for warriors. We have our study. Our backpack hanging on the chair. For our bedroom, I wanted these beds to be kind of nestled into some of the branches. So we have them risen up and kind of nestled into the branches, kind of the same way the house is. I think it turned out okay. It is quite cozy in this little room, but that's kind of what we're going for. So, another owl. Another one up here. They're kind of all over the place in this. We have our little nook here. And for the windows on this one, we just used some regular gold shire windows and we flipped them around. So we'd have the bright blue facing outwards, so it's not quite as blinding, and we can see through the window in reverse. So it gets the glow, and it's transparent for us. We used a couple deluxe Valshara beds as our little reading nook seating, just clipped the headboards through the wall. It's quite cushiony. We of course have our tree through the middle, so it feels extra treehousey. Dining area. Tiny kitchen. Made ourselves a tiny little breadboard out of I think this is a Hearthstone mat. Yeah, we just turned the Hearthstone mat upside down to kind of have a fake breadboard. And of course our Christmas tree. The presents are just a bunch of carved wooden crates, dyed different colors. The train, of course, is an engineering crafted item from Wrath of the Lich King. Our star is also a Wrath crafted item. I think it's blacksmithing for that one. And I don't want to use too many decorations. I thought the silver and the silver orbs and the candles kind of came together well enough. At least for a Night Elf Christmas tree. So it's just City Wanderers candles and these filigree moon lamps. And the bushes we use with the Duskwood Shade brush. These are some of my favorite plants to use for a lot of things. They scale up quite well, even though they're not the highest def item, but they don't look too bad when they're scaled up or scaled down, so I quite like them. And we just place a few down, and we incrementally make them a little bit smaller. And we just stack them up on top of each other to make our Christmas tree shape. Use our shift trick to get them a little smaller. And we just put them in on top of each other until you're happy with the shape and the size. It will look very flat, so depending on where you have it, you'll probably want to do the same thing on the opposite side to kind of fill it up, make it look more 3D, unless you're looking at it straight front on, like this one. This was just one set, but it was kind of bugging me how flat it looked, so I threw some extra ones behind it just to fill it out. You can try different bushes and stuff. There's a couple, but I think this one has the best shape. But yeah, this is my tiny, cozy treehouse. There's actually a little secret in this one. If you do watch one of the other videos, the chest room is actually in this house, but only because I had nowhere else to build it. So it is a little secret hiding behind this wall. You can see the base tree house is just a small room and 3 closets. And we hit our chest room up through the hallway. But hopefully this gave you some ideas, helped you out. And I appreciate the views. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.